All right, so it's 2 o'clock and we're going to start the seminar. Can I ask you to do a favor? If you look at the downside of your screen, there's a mute button, the microphone. So you could click that to mute your microphone. And whenever you have a question, then definitely you could unmute and ask me questions. So we're going to start the seminar. I want to thank you everyone to attend this seminar. And my name is Sam, and I'm a director at the San Ramon Elite. And today we're going to talk a lot of things about the college seminar or college admissions. So I'm not going to be able to finish everything that I prepared. So today's going to be part one, and the next week we're going to have part two. Which I will focus on the extracurricular activities and college application itself. So today we're going to see the general admissions requirements for like private colleges and also the UCs, and we'll go into details. So let me share this screen with you. Just give me a second. Okay, here we go. All right, so these are the things that we're going to cover today. So we're going to talk about the college application types. So if you are a junior this year, now you're going to start working on your application either this month or very soon. And it's not only one type of application that you're going to be doing, but there will be several types. So I'm going to go into that in a short moment. And also, we're going to take a look at the admissions data from 2019, private colleges and UCs. And then we're going to talk about the college admission requirements. So I'll concentrate on the private college requirements and also the requirements for the UCs. And then I will introduce some of the programs that we have, how we, as an elite, we prepare the high school students to go to the colleges they desire to go to. And lastly, I'm going to talk about the COVID changes.
It's a very good session if you want to come.
I'm sorry? Okay, so
very helpful if you want to come.
So we're going to have a Q&A. So let's start with the college applications type. All right, so there are several types of college applications. So there is Common App, which is for most of the private colleges. And there is a coalition app that is for another, like some other type or some other private colleges, and the UC applications for all the UCs, and also Cal State applications for all California state colleges. And if you are interested in like an MIT or University of the Pacific, there are certain private colleges which use their own application. So for most of the students from these areas, now they're going to be doing 4 applications for their college choices. So now for the private college, now the reason that I'm like presenting this first is because when we take a look at the college admissions rate, you're going to see a term which is like ED, EA, REA. So I just wanted to give you some explanation on those. Now, if you're doing if you're doing private college applications, many of the private colleges, they're gonna offer early application. So in big sense, there's an early application and the regular decision application. So regular decision meaning that you're gonna apply by the deadline that the each college has. When your profile is pretty good, let's say that you have really strong GPA, very good test scores, and also very good extracurricular activities, then you could do the early. So many of the private colleges, they do offer the early applications. So within that early, there are 3 different kinds. So early decision, early action, and restricted early action, or sometimes it is called a single choice or early action. So early decision is generally known as a binding application, meaning that you only can do with one school with the early decision. But when you do the early decision, that means you really want to go to that college. So let's say that you do early decision with UPenn, and you do many other early applications and regular decision applications, and UPenn accept you. That means you have to go to UPenn. You cannot go to any other school. So early decision, that's the downside of it. But if you do the early, then you're gonna have the most chance to get into that school. Early action, is many colleges offer it. So for the early applications, usually the application deadlines are by the 15th of October or November 1st. So, and also the restrictive early action or single choice early actions are very limited. So example, Stanford, Harvard, Princeton. So if you choose one of these schools to do early, that means you're doing restrictive early action. So that means you only can do the early action with that one school only. You cannot do early decision or early action at all. So when you choose, especially like, you know, Yale, Harvard, Princeton, Stanford, you're gonna have to be careful because you only can do like that school only for the early. So that means you're forfeiting all other like admission possibilities for other schools. But definitely you could do the regular decision. It's just the early application wise. If you choose restrictive early or single choice early, you cannot do any other early decision or early action. So here are, and by the way, so the deadlines for the early application due date, October 15th or November 1st. And the early decision, if you do early action, the early action applications, then you will get the admission decisions by December 15th. UCs, they don't do that. They don't do any early at all. So here is the top 15 national universities admissions rate in 2019, which was last year. So as you can see, all these colleges, and with the number of people applied and number of people got admitted, and you see the 2019 acceptance rate and 2018 acceptance rate. Now, if you look at the University of Chicago, there is like a star market after that. That is that college is known as a hidden Ivy. So there are certain universities which are not a member of Ivy League, but they are almost like equally difficult to get in. So University of Chicago, Caltech, Duke, Emory, Johns Hopkins, Georgetown, MIT, and also Stanford. All these are the top schools which are as difficult to get in as much as like the Ivy Leagues. Now, one thing that I want you to notice is the acceptance rate. So if you compare the acceptance rate from 2019 to 2018, definitely it's lower. So that's the trend that we have. Every year, more and more students are applying to the colleges, and the acceptance rate is going down. So that means that as far as the college admission is concerned, there is more competitions every year. Okay? So here's the other schools. So these are the schools that the most of the students from these areas apply to. Okay. And here is the rest of them. Okay. Now, once again, when you have a question, please unmute your microphone and you can ask me, you can stop me and ask questions. All right, now this is the admission rate for the Ivy League colleges. So you can take a look at all of these. Now, definitely you will see the difference between the regular decision acceptance rate compared to the early decision, early action acceptance rate. So for example, if you look at Brown, the regular decision acceptance rate was 5.2%, but early decision or early action, the acceptance rate was 8.2%. So definitely it's gonna be, like 3 times more the chance that you're gonna have. So when your profile is pretty strong, definitely you should do it early. Now, however, early meaning that not only your profile has to be very good, but the colleges which do early, they're gonna take a look at your legacy. Legacy meaning that your parents went to that college or graduate program. If your parents did that, then you definitely gonna have a better chance to get in.
Question control.
Okay. So these are the Ivy League. And this is the graph comparing the regular decision acceptance rate with the early decision acceptance rate. So definitely you could see that the early decision or early action, you're gonna have a better chance to get in. Now this is the admission rate for the Cal State University, the colleges in the California. And a lot of students from this area, they choose the state universities as their the safety schools. So I couldn't list like all CSU colleges, but the ones that you see, those are the very popular ones. So Fullerton, LA, and the Long Beach, these are pretty famous ones. And also there's definitely like San Diego State, San Jose State, and San Francisco State. And one of them that you will be probably the most interested, that is gonna be the Cal Poly SLO. Now that school has very good engineering and the computer science program. So as you can see that the acceptance rate and also the GPA requirement, it is different from other majors. So I would say Cal Poly SLOs like CS and the engineering, the admission requirement is almost equal as like UC Irvine, UC San Diego's. Now, San Jose State has a very good CS program and even some engineering program. You might want to consider that school as like a CS or the engineering major choice. And now the next thing is the University of California. So UC is, now as you know, there are 10 UC campuses, but UC San Francisco only, it has the graduate program only. So the ones that you're going to be applying to are UC Berkeley, Davis, Santa Cruz, Merced, Santa Barbara, Los Angeles, Irvine, Riverside, and San Diego. Now, many people don't want to even apply to UC Merced because UC Merced is more like lower end. But I had a chance to talk to the founder, one of the 7 founders for the UC Merced. And he was saying, I mean, UC Merced, they are trying, or they're doing their best to develop their programs really fast. So they're putting a lot of money to it, and they're trying to recruit more good professors. And so right now, I mean, they've been doing pretty well. So these days, if you apply to UC Merced and you go there, it's still going to be okay. But generally knowing UC Berkeley, UCLA is going to be the top. And other UCs like Davis, Santa Cruz, Santa Barbara, and Irvine and San Diego, they are more like mid-range. And UC Riverside and UC Merced are more like lower end. That means you're going to have a much better chance to get into Riverside and Merced. And this is the 2018 UC acceptance rate, right? So you could take a look at it. And UC Berkeley was a 17%. It's not so much different from like last year. So 17%, Davis 43%, Irvine 36%, LA 16%, Merced 70%, and Riverside 57%, San Diego 34%, Santa Barbara 32%, and Santa Cruz 51%. Now, you're gonna have to be careful with this. You are doing engineering, computer science, or pre-med, that percentage is not gonna apply to you. It's gonna be a lot lower than that. And that's because a lot of people wanna do engineering, computer science, or pre-med, then you're gonna have a lot more competition. So it's gonna be much lower than that. Now, another thing that I want you to notice is this capped weighted GPA. Now, this is only for the UCs. So what UC is going to do when they receive your application and when they take a look at your GPA is that they're going to look at your A to G weighted GPA first. Now, I'm going to explain the A to G GPA later on, So what is cap weighted GPA? So what UC is going to do is they're going to look at all the class schedules from your 10th and 11th grade, and especially they're going to see, or they're going to focus on the weighted classes, and they will take 4 weighted classes out of 10th and 11th. That's capped weighted GPA. So let's say that you are doing computer science at Berkeley, all right? So the Berkeley application reader is going to look for 4 weighted classes from 10th and 11th, and they will look at your GPA. Yeah. Let's say that your GPA, the capped weighted GPA is like 4.23. That's still good, but the next thing that they're going to be looking for is your fully weighted GPA. Why do they look at their, your fully weighted GPA? And that's because a lot of people, when they apply to Berkeley, they're going to have 4.2 GPA. So because they have limited seats, they cannot have everybody come in. So the next GPA that they're going to do, they're going to take a look at fully weighted GPA. All right. So important thing is this. Now a lot of students come and they ask me the question like, oh, they're saying like, okay, well, UC is doing capped weighted GPA. Why do I have to take so many APs? Well, that's because of the competitions. All right. So once again, if you're doing engineering, computer science, pre-med, or any other popular major on that campus, on those UCs, then you should take as many APs as possible, because the fully weighted GPA is going to be the most important thing. So anybody have any question on this? Okay. Now this is the UCLA alone. So this is from the 2019.
Hey Sam, can you ask everybody to mute, because there's a lot of background noise that's coming.
All right. So can I ask you to mute your microphone? On your screen down on the left side, there is a mute thing that you can do. So please let's make all the microphone mute.
By default, you can mute all the participants. So anybody who wants to talk, then they can turn the mute off and
right.
talk.
Let me see. I know there was a function on my side that I could mute all the microphones, but I couldn't find that.
No problems. Please carry on.
Okay. All right. So for all the UCs, now majority of the majors gonna fall into the College of Letters and Science. So as you can see on the left-hand side, these are different schools. So when you go to UCLA, you're gonna see the College of Letters and Science, and the engineering school, music school, nursing school, and art school, and all these. So majority, I would say about like 70% of the major choices that you're gonna have are gonna fall into the College of Letters and Science. So you could see that so many people apply to the Letters and Science, the College of Letters and Science, and 75,000 or 76,000 people apply. For the engineering, as you can see, that about 6,000 people applied, and only 2,500 people got in. So it's like a 10%, right? And same thing with same thing with your computer science. Okay? So you could compare the admission rate just for the UCLA. Unfortunately, not every UC has posted their admission rates on their website. So I just was able to get the UCLA's. So definitely you could see, UCLA is the most popular one. So like last year, over 111,000 people applied to the UCLA. Now this is the statistic from UCLA, which shows the admission or the application and admission rate for the past 10 years. So as you can see, 2010, there was only like 57,000 people apply, but now it's over 110,000. Now this is for the UC Berkeley. Now I'm going to explain the computer science program at UC Berkeley. It's a little different from any other UC campus. Now the toughest major that you can get into as far as UC Berkeley is concerned, that's the EECS program, which is Electrical Engineering and Computer Science program. So there are two different the computer science program that you can try at the UC Berkeley. There's computer science major under the College of Letters and Science, and there's a computer science under engineering school. Now, computer science under engineering, that's combination of electrical engineering and computer science. So if you're choosing that, you are considered as an engineering student, not computer science student. So your profile is going to be reviewed as an engineering student. So overall, the engineering student's going to be, I mean, the way that the application is reviewed, it's going to be a lot harder than other majors. So if you're thinking any type of engineering at any of the UCs, then your profile has to be better than other major choice or other major students. So because it is really popular program, now you're going to see a lot of people enrolled in that program. Now, I had a chance to talk to this woman who was working for UC Berkeley, and it just happened to be that she was person in charge over EECS program. And so she came here and she sent her daughter for our summer SAT program. So while we were having a conference meeting, I asked her, so what was like the cut line for the EECS program that year? And she said, Mr. We did not accept anybody whose GPA was under 4.5 and SAT score under 1500. So if you're interested in the electrical engineering and computer science EECS program, then your GPA has to be around 4.5 and SAT score above 1500. And that's pretty much the same thing for the engineering majors. Okay. Now, these are just for your record. It shows the UC Berkeley number of students on their engineering department. So like 2018, there were about like 3,600 engineering students on campus. Now, there are certain majors that...
I got a question. So in your sheet, does maths and statistics, do you consider that as part of engineering or a different, just as engineering sciences?
It was just for the engineering.
So maths and statistics would be separate, right?
Right, math is going to be different. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about the GPA requirement later.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So what would be the computer science program that's not part of EECS?
So that's the computer science under the College of Letters and Science. So they call it LNSCS.
Okay. And what,
So
how is the admission rate?
they're not going to ask you to have like 4.5 GPA. However, because the CS major is really popular among all the UCs, it is strongly recommended or higher GPA.
Could you repeat that? There was like some other sound.
Okay. For the Berkeley and UCLA, and you are doing, computer science major, it's just strongly recommended you to have 4.4 GPA. Okay. All right. Now here are the majors that you only can see as certain uses. So business majors. Now these are like business administration. So Irvine, Berkeley, Riverside, Santa Cruz, Merced, and Davis have business administrations. Now, a lot of people want to do business, but they choose econ, right? So as far as the econ major is concerned, every UC campus is going to have it, but it is specifically for the business administration, and these are the only campuses which offer business administration. And out of all these, probably the top of the choices, probably you already guessed it, it's UC Berkeley's business admin, the major. So it's going to be pretty tough to get in. And these are the other major choices. So as far as the UCLA, UC Berkeley offer the architecture major, and none other schools have it. And also the nursing program, only UCLA and UC Irvine have it. And I explained to you the EECS program and LNSCS, that's only at UC Berkeley. So you kind of have to do your own research, because you don't go by like a name brand. I mean, we know UCLA is really good, UC Berkeley is really good, but that doesn't mean that all of their major choices are as good as an engineering or computer science. So each campus has uniqueness. So Like, UC San Diego, they are like really strong in marine biology. UC Davis, they are really strong in agricultural biology. So it really depends on your interest. So do your own research. And as I said before, not all UCs might be good options for you. So how are you going to prepare for the UC, campuses? So on your transcript, you're going to see A to G GPA. So that means you're going to have to meet the A to G requirements. So there are 15 classes that you're going to have to do. So history, English, maths, science, art, and foreign language, and the college prep electives. Now we're going to take a look at a little more details later on. So there are 15 A to G classes that you have to do. And also, the website says minimum 3.0 GPA. Now that only applies to maybe to UC Merced. I had one case last year or this year that there was one student whose GPA was around like 3.1, and she got into UC Merced. But if you're thinking like engineering, computer science, or pre-med major from UC Berkeley down to UC Santa Barbara, your GPA has to be above 4.0. Okay. And also SAT or ACT score, now these are mandatory so far. But the UCs, they made an announcement last week that they're going to make SAT and ACT optional for just this year, meaning that it's gonna be applied to the juniors, this year. You could do SAT or you don't have to do SAT. Same thing with the ACT. But you're gonna have to be careful with this optional. Now, optional doesn't mean that they're not gonna take it at all. Optional meaning that you could do it or you don't have to do it. But if you do it and if you submit the score, then it could be an advantage. So if you've already done the SAT scores, you're gonna submit it. I mean, you have to submit it, and definitely the application reader is gonna consider that. But let's say that you haven't tried the SAT yet, and you're a junior, and now UC saying, you don't have to do the SAT, and you decide not to. Well, your GPA has to be really strong. Right? So there's like a pros and cons because of the coronavirus crisis. But definitely, I mean, not just the UCs, but the colleges, they're not going to change something dramatically different from the previous years. It's just the thing is that we have like, national disaster, and most of the colleges, well, in fact, all the colleges are giving a little more space for the next year's applicants to have a better chance to get it. So now this is the minimum requirements that you can do to try UCs. So as you can see that there is no honors, no AP classes, and if you do this and you get like 3.0 GPA, yes, you're still eligible, but it's gonna be really hard. All right, so maybe if you have like this kind of the class schedule, that means you have to be like either very strong in athletics, so you're playing sports for some of the UCs, or special major, so like the music major or art major, so that could be a little different. But if you're considering engineering, computer science, or pre-med, or some of the majors, then this is kind of like maximum requirements. Now, you don't necessarily have to do this, but if you're thinking the UC Berkeley, UCLA, and Ivy, and also like a Stanford, then you probably want to have this kind of schedule on your transcript. So it is very important for you to keep so many APs, as many as possible for your 11th grade. So UC is going to take your GPA from 10th and 11th only. All right, so 9th grade GPA and also 12th grade GPA is not going to be counted. However, even though the 12th grade GPA is not going to be considered, but UCs strongly recommend you to have as many rigorous classes as possible. So if you take like 3 or 4 APs in your junior year, you should take another 3 or 4 for your senior year. So for the computer science and engineering major for UCLA, UC Berkeley, you should have about 4.4 or 4.5 GPA. Anything below, still you will have chance, because GPA is not going to be everything that they're going to be looking for. But if you have like 4.4 or 4.5 GPA, that's going to be really great. Other uses, it depends. But if you still, you might want to, maintain your GPA at around like 4.3 to try like, Irvine, San Diego, Santa Cruz, all these mid-range uses for computer science and engineering program. UC Riverside is a lot better. I mean, you're going to have a much better chance. UC Merced, I mean, if you have like 4.0, and definitely that's going to be good for the engineering program and also the computer science. The pre-med, same thing. Because the competition is pretty high, it'll be the equally important or the hard as the engineering and the computer science major. So if you wanted the pre-med, then you should keep your GPA above 4.4 for you to be safe for any of the uses. But this year, we just had a glimpse of the admission record. Like UCLA, there was, it was about like 4.5 or 4.6. A lot of people have 4.6 GPA. So once again, GPA is going to be the most important factor for your college admissions. So you want to keep your GPA as high as possible. Now, Stanford IVs, they're going to be asking 4.7 GPA for most of the major choices. Now, Stanford has the same system as the UCs. So they will consider your GPA from the 10th and 11th only, but they're asking 4.7. Okay. Now, IVs and the private colleges, they will consider your GPA from the 9th grade up until the first semester of your senior year. And so if it is an IB, once again, they're going to be looking for about 4.6 or 4.7. Any questions? Okay. All right, UC versus private. Now, what would be the advantages if you go to the UCs? Well, definitely it's a big campus, and you're going to have the maximized campus life. So there will be a lot of opportunities for you to enjoy your campus life, many clubs, like a sorority, fraternities, and not only those, but just, it's like an open field. So you'll have exciting campus life. And because it is so large, if you're a very proactive student, you're a very outgoing student, then that, UC is going to be a really good choice for you. But if you're introverted type, you don't want friendship much, you don't want to associate with people that much, then UC might be a really too big choice for you. So you're going to have to consider that. And also UCs have state-of-the-art research facilities. And, because they do have pretty good funds for, to support the professors with the research for it. So their, facilities are pretty big. And probably the best thing is the tuition. So compare the UC tuitions with the private colleges, it's going to be a lot cheaper. So I think the UC tuition is going to be about $35,000 per year. Compared to most of the private colleges, it's going to be $65,000 to $85,000. So that's really big difference. Private colleges, what would be the advantage? The first thing definitely is the smaller class size. Now, I went to UCLA years ago, and my major was biochem. And back in those years, when I went into my bio class, when I was a freshman and sophomore year, there were about 400 students in the classroom. It was a lot. These days, it's more than 600. So for the undergraduate program, lower division classes, if you go to popular classes or the general education classes, you're going to see a lot of students in the classroom. Private colleges is so different, right? So it's a smaller size. So definitely you're going to have more personal academic experience. Now, interactive learning versus a lecture-based classes. Well, UCs are mostly lecture-based because it's large, it's because it's so big. Now, private colleges are more like an interactive learning type, and that's because it's a smaller size, so a lot of discussions can happen. And also the professors get to know you in person. So it's a really big advantage. And that will drive up to the next point. You're going to have a lot more access to your professors. UCs, it's going to be pretty tough unless you are noticed by your professors, or you're really going to have to try hard to like get an access to your professors. But private colleges, it's a different story. So you'll have an easy access to your professors. And also that means that you're gonna have more access to research or internship opportunities. Now, this is gonna be extremely important, especially for the pre-med students. And that is because when you apply for the medical school, it's not just the GPA, it's not just the MCAT score, but you're gonna have to have professors' recommendation letters and your lab experience. So if you go to the UCs, I mean, you know, because there's so much like competitions, it's gonna be pretty hard for you to get that research space or research position. But if you go to like, you know, private colleges, definitely you're gonna have a lot more easy access to research or internship opportunities. And if you go to, you know, IVs or hidden IVs, then definitely, you know, it's gonna be prestige, and also you're gonna have the reputation. That's the one another privilege that you're gonna have if you go to private colleges. So that's the main difference between the UCs and the private colleges. Now, this is for the parents. There are certain schools which belong to Western Undergraduate Exchange Program. So this program is like the tuition deduction program, but this is not like need-based. But if you go to any of the colleges under Western Undergraduate Exchange Program, your tuition is going to be a lot cheaper. So, for example, like California residents pay around $5,742 for tuition at Cal State, but WUE, meaning the Western Undergraduate Exchange students, they pay $8,613 for tuition, while other out-of-state students pay $17,000. So these are the colleges that you could choose. So there are many colleges from state of Alaska to Wyoming. So the students from these areas, they usually apply to like Arizona State or University of Arizona. As you can see, that many of these colleges are not like, you know, the colleges that you would prefer. But if you choose any of those and you go there, and definitely you're gonna have the tuition advantage. And here are more schools. Okay. All right. Now this might interest you because there are like a local high schools, and I was able to get the UC admission rates from each high school. So this is from 2019. So from DBHS last year, 538 students applied to the UC, all UCs, and 386 of them got in, and 203 were enrolled, right? And as you can see, the population of Asians at the DBHS, so like out of 538, like 433 students were all Asians. And Cal High, so 277 people applied and 185 got in, and the 97 enrolled. And the Dublin 304, 218, 116, and Monte Vista 251, 146, and 82. And Armadan Valley 348 and 241 were admitted, and 119 enrolled. And San Ramon Valley 167, 96, 41. And Foothill, there was 248, 175, 83. And Castro Valley 246, 169, 102. And Granada, this is like a little out of the area, but I get the students from like, you know, the Modesto and some other areas. So Granada High, 148, 86, and 45, and Northgate, Modesto, and Concord-Lindo. And here's a little bit more. So Livermore, Coeur d'Alene, and Athenian. Now, Coeur d'Alene and Athenian, these are private schools, so definitely there's a smaller number of people applied. And you can see that not so many people actually went to UCs, and that's because, especially like at Athenian, a lot more students prefer the IVs or private colleges, and that's why the enrollment number is small. All right, so the thing is this, let me go back to like DBHS. Now, when you apply to the UCs, now first pool of competitions that you're going to face is from your friends. All right. So if your academic profile is within that 538 students level, then you are eligible. So I think last year around, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was around like 900 or 800 something students from DVHS. That was the senior class size. So that's a lot. I mean, a lot of them apply to the UCs. So if you look at like 386 that at mid-level, so we would say probably, you know, if you're in like top 15% from DVHS, then definitely you'll have a very good chance to get into any of the UCs. However, now UCLA, UC Berkeley, these are two different stories though, right? So you have to keep it in your mind. So if you're thinking UCLA, UC Berkeley, and one more time, you're thinking about engineering, computer science, or like a pre-med, then just look at what your friends are taking, right? And so try to match up with what, you know, there's class schedule. And same thing with the Cal High. Because some of the parents and even the students are saying that, you know, because DVHS is like really competitive, they were like seriously thinking about like moving out of the area and transferring the student to like Cal High or Dublin. I mean, it could work out, but I don't think that it's a good idea. Because you know, even though let's say that you go to Cal High or Dublin High, in order for you to go to like UCLA, UC Berkeley, you have to be in that top percentage. So it's going to be pretty much like an equally difficult as DVHS. And also transferring in your like 11th grade, which I don't recommend it at all. It's a new school environment and you have to adjust to the brand new school environment and try to catch up on. I mean, that's going to be way too much work. All right, so the admission requirements. What kind of students are colleges looking for? So these are the requirements or the things that the colleges are looking for. So definitely the first thing is going to be academic profile, which is your GPA. And the second thing is going to be your test scores. So it's not just the SAT or ACT, but AP test score is going to be important. And also SAT subject test score is going to be important. I'll be talking about all of these later on. Now, as far as the SAT and ACT is concerned, you don't have to do both. You just have to choose one. And I'll talk more later on. And the extracurricular activities, this is really important. It's getting more important for the UCs. And the personal statement, which is the college essays, and the letters of recommendation are the important thing, and demonstrated interest. So all college is going to be looking for your academic profile and your test scores, right? So the GPA, that's going to be the most important factor for your college admissions. So you're really going to have to pay a lot of attention to your GPA. So let's say that your GPA is not too strong and you're a junior and your GPA is not too strong to try UCLA, UC Berkeley, or some other UCs, then definitely try to use this coming summertime to take more classes online or from the community college. So in that way that you could boost up your GPA. So as long as you have the grades ready by the time that you submit your applications, it's gonna be all counted, all right? So if you take some classes online during the summertime or you take classes from the community college during the summertime, that's gonna be all counted as your 11th grade GPA. So try to pay attention to your GPA. And the next thing, that's standardized test scores. So SAT or ACT, AP test scores, and SAT subject test scores. Now, these are the scores that most of the colleges are looking for. And the selective colleges, such as like most UCs, and also the colleges ranked in top 100 in the US, they're gonna be looking for just academic profile, your test scores, and extracurricular activities, and personal and family background, and your college essays.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I have a quick question. So with the extra classes to be taken over the summer, the student was to take, are you talking about the AP classes? Because then the student is not able to give the exam till next May. How is that going to work out?
Is your child a sophomore or junior?
Junior.
Okay, junior. That way you're not going to be able to do the AP test, right? So, I mean, you could submit it, you could submit the scores, but that's kind of the case, like you apply to the UCs and you are deferred, then definitely you could take an AP test and you could submit the score and appeal. But otherwise, you will be just submitting the AP class grade, which is still going to be good.
Okay.
Right. And here's another thing. Now, I think many of the high schools in these areas, they do not allow the students to take so many like classes outside school, especially the AP classes. So if you want to take AP classes, then the first thing is that you should talk to your counselor and see if you can take certain APs outside. So let's say that you want to do AP Cal AB outside. Usually the schools do not allow that. And because it's a core AP, and the school has like regulation or the policy that you should do it inside, not the outside. But if it's like an AP psychology or any other APs, then that's going to be okay. And also, let's say that you already did like an AP bio, but now you want to do AP Chem, but your AP Chem teacher is like really hard, and you don't want to go, you don't want to take it at your school. Definitely, you can do it outside, but your counselor is going to say, you know what, you can't take AP Chem outside. I mean, you could do it, but that grade's not going to be transported to your transcript. Don't get nervous, don't get panicked. When you apply to the colleges, even though your school does not accept the letter grades from like classes that you took outside, you will submit a separate transcript to the colleges. So when the colleges receive all these, the transcript, they're going to recalculate your GPA. So I strongly recommend you to take more like AP classes or college level classes from like either online school or like a community college if your GPA is not too strong. Okay.
Thank you so much.
And the extremely selective colleges, now they're going to be looking for all these academic profile, test scores, extracurricular activities, and the personal statement, letters of recommendation, and demonstrated interest. Now, I'm going to talk about the demonstrated interest later. The letters of recommendation, that's usually from the counselor and from one or two of your teachers. So when you apply, when you work on your applications, you're going to have to be careful with like how many letters of recommendation that the other college is going to be asking for. So academic profile. So when you look at your transcript, now you're going to see three different types of the GPA. So weighted GPA, unweighted GPA, and weighted A2, 10 to 12 A2G GPA. So as I said before, the A2G GPA is for the UCs and the Cal States, right? But the private schools, definitely, they're going to look at your weighted GPA, unweighted GPA. Now, every year I have a case or cases that students that have like really good, the A2G GPA. So they're like, the A2G GPA was like 4.3, but they had 3.7 unweighted GPA. And if you have that, now we have like many real cases with UCs that students could not get into some of the UCs because of the low unweighted GPA. So if you're thinking, once again, engineering, computer science, and pre-med, that you want to keep your unweighted GPA around like 3.9. So that if you have like 3.9 unweighted GPA, then you will be okay. Right? So it's very important. I mean, the academic profile or academic performance, the college is going to be looking for overall the performance. And especially like engineering students and computer science students, they complain. I mean, they come here for the SAT program, and while we are having the conference meeting, the engineering students say that, why do I have to take a push? I mean, I'm going to do engineering, and history has nothing to do with this. Or like even AP Lang or AP Literature. Well, once you are in college, you don't have to worry about this. But as far as the college admissions are concerned, they want to see overall academic performance. So you know, a lot of engineering students, computer science, they're really strong in math, but they don't like, you know, English, history, but you have no choice. Unfortunately, you know, they're looking for everything. So you have to go for the most rigorous classes as much as possible. Now, the GPA from 9th through 11th, as I said before, most of the private colleges is going to be look at your GPA from the 9th grade until the 11th or the first semester of your senior year. Now, the reason that I mentioned 11th grade is that, remember like we talked about the early action applications? So when your profile is all ready by the September of your senior year, then definitely you could try the early action. So if you do the early action, because you're submitting your applications by the 15th of October or November the 1st, your grade has to be ready by the 11th. So these private colleges which offer the early decision or early action, they're going to look at your GPA from the 9th grade until the 11th. But if you're doing regular decision, then it's going to be until the first semester of your senior year. Uses, once again, it's going to be from 10th and 11th only. Now, which was better, greater number of AP classes or higher GPA? Well, higher GPA, definitely. So many students also ask me questions like, okay, if I take like 4 APs, I know I'm not going to get straight A's. Wouldn't it be much better for me to just take 2 APs and rest of them all like regular classes and get A's from all those so that I can have like straight A's? It's a good strategy, good tactic, but as far as the reality is concerned, no. So if you're considering, once again, engineering, computer science, and pre-med, you're going to have to go for the maximum number of APs that you can do. And anytime when you do APs and honors, you have to go for A's, right? And here's another tip for the engineering students. Now, if you're considering engineering at UC Berkeley, UCLA, and if you have like more than 4 B's, it's going to be really hard. So especially from science and math classes. So when you take like an honors pre-calc, the AP Calc AB, AP Calc BC, definitely, I mean, you're going to have to go with straight A's. And also same thing with the AP Science. And another thing is, I think Dublin and I think it's also Foothill, they have special program for like an future or prospective engineering students in pre-med. So they have engineering pathway and the medical pathway. That's going to be good if you join those pathways and you study those. That's going to be great. But what I saw from the previous years is that because they are on the program, they have to take certain honors classes in their junior year. So like an honors, like a principal engineering or something related to like engineering classes. So that limited them to take more APs. So to me, more APs is going to be much better. Of course, when application reader reads your application, you did this program, like an engineering pathway or medical pathway, that'll be good, and still you will have pretty good GPA, but number of the APs is going to be really important. All right, so what's going to happen when the application reader reads your application is that it's going to have your application and also your school your school information. So let's say that your school offers like 15 APs, but you only have 3 or 4 the entire high school years. That's no good. So the general understanding of like how you can make your academic profile as good as possible is, the first thing is that you're going to have to go for the most number of rigorous classes. So especially like, let's say that you're interested in Stanford or Ivies, I mean, you literally are going to have to paint all your class schedule with the APs. So the past years, the students who got into like UPenn, Harvard, Stanford, all these students, they had like 5 or 6 APs for their junior year, and also another 5 or like 6 APs for their senior year. The sophomore year was pretty limited, but these days the system's changing. So if you are on more like an advanced side, then you could take more weighted classes during the sophomore year. So if you're looking, or if you are thinking about like Ivy, Stanford, MIT, Caltech, and you have like really strong interest going to one of those schools, then you're really going to have to maximize the number of APs and honors that you can take. All right, so honors versus APs, definitely I say APs is going to be more important. And not only that, the college is going to be looking for more rigorous classes, and obviously APs is going to be harder than the honors. And when you do the APs, definitely, now you're not just providing AP grades, but also you're going to provide AP test scores, right? So I see that these days, a lot of, or not a lot, but some students are self-studying for the AP classes. And so they don't have an AP grade, but they go for the AP test score, right? So that's another good choice. But try to take as many APs from your class, from your school first, right? So if you have like a spare time, then definitely you could try more APs outside. And also, when you take certain APs, then you could do SAT subject test. So I'm going to be talking about that later when I talk about the SAT subject. So there's, the advantage, good advantage for like taking more APs. All right, so what if my school does not offer that many APs? As I said before, let's say that your school only offers like only 4 APs. Then what the college is going to ask you to do is try to take more APs outside. All right. So there's an online school. We have the it's called the Elite Open School, and it is online school, but it is a school. So you could actually go through the program that we have, and you could get diploma, and every class that if you take the classes from us, it's gonna be accredited, and also it will be approved by UCs. So it's a one school that we have, and I don't know if you're familiar with this or not, but all high schools in California and most of the colleges in California, they're all WASC approved. So WASC meaning the Western Association of Colleges and Schools. If your school is approved by, or accredited by WASC, and Elite Open School is accredited by WASC. So if you take any courses with us, then yes, it's going to be good for your college administration or college applications. So if your school does not offer that many APs, definitely try to take more outside. Okay. And so 12th grade, you have to go for the rigorous classes for your 12th grade. So we talked about that. And if you're interested in like Harvard or the Ivies and Stanford, all these high-level schools, foreign language is going to be important. All right. So if you're looking, or if you want to apply to those schools, then 4 year of like foreign language is almost required. So please don't stop taking like a Spanish or French class if you're thinking about doing applications to the high-level private colleges. All right, test scores. So the first thing is SAT. As you know, the SAT has 2 portions, so English and math. And English, that's reading and writing, and math, that's 1 portion, so 50-50%. And each has 800 perfect score. And the essays, total essay score is 24. And the SAT questions are more like the analytical and the critical thinking type. As far as the essay is concerned, the Ivies and most of the private colleges, they already dropped the essay score, so you don't have to do it. However, UC still require it. They are in talks right now, and I think they're going to make an announcement either this month or next month whether they are going to keep essay score or they're going to drop it. So if the UCs drop essay score, then our summer program is going to be changed because you don't have to do the essay anymore. So that's the SAT, so the reading, writing, and math. And the ACT, there are 4 sections, so English, math, reading, and science. And each section, that's like 36, perfect score is 36. And also the essay, the total score that you can go for is the 12. And same thing, most of the private colleges, they drop the ACT essay score. So you don't have to do it. It's just the UCs. So we're waiting for their answer. Now, there's a biggest difference between SAT and ACT. And the first major difference is the number of questions. So ACT has 61 more questions than the SAT. So because ACT have a lot more questions, it's really fast. So if you already tried like an ACT diagnostic, you probably noticed that you ran out of time, and that's obvious because it's got so many more questions. And the difference is the science, and the science section does not require so much deep knowledge in science, but it's more like reading the graphs and interpreting the graphs. So if you're not too strong in reading and comprehension, then probably ACT is not going to be a better choice. And if there's a last thing, and that's going to be the score increment. Now, SAT, as you saw before, is English and math. So math is taking 50% of the whole test. So let's say that you're strong in math. And so if you get one answer right, that means 10 points up. While the ACT, you kind of have to raise every section score to raise your composite score. So as far as the improving your score is concerned, I personally think that the SAT is a better choice, but it goes down to your preference. So which one do you want to take? That's really up to you. Does college care? No, they don't. So any college, all the colleges in the state, they don't mind you taking either SAT or ACT. Either one's gonna be fine. And which one's easier? I said the ACT looks a little bit more straightforward, but because of the number of questions and the science section is not that easy at all. And do you have to take? No, you don't have to take both. And how can you improve the SAT or ACT score? I mean, you could study on your own, but definitely the program that we offer is going to help you very much. So the summer program that we have is the most intense SAT and ACT preparation program. So this summer, I mean, the coronavirus situation right now, it looks like that we're going to have online SAT classes. Well, luckily, I mean, if everything goes well, and if the government allows students to come into the building, then definitely we're going to have in-class the program. But otherwise, it's going to be all the online class. So it's going to be 5 days per week program. Whether it's an online or in-class, it's 5 days per week. And every Monday, now you're going to be taking the test. So we're going to give you a full-length test. Same thing with the ACT. But let me talk about the SAT first. So it's going to be the full-length test. So you're going to be doing reading and writing and the math and also the essay portion. And every Tuesday, we're going to do the test review. So the test that you take on Monday is going to be reviewed in your class on Tuesdays. So class meaning that there's going to be reading class, writing class, and math class. And each class, now different teachers are going to teach each class. So we're going to do the test review on Tuesdays. And Wednesday through Friday, now that's going to be your class time. Now you're going to get 6 curriculum books from us, and these are all made by LEAD. And the teachers will follow the curriculum schedule, and they will teach you not just the materials, which are going to be important for you to know to improve your SAT scores, but also we're going to teach you some strategies and skills to deal with certain types of questions on the SAT and also the ACT. And there's going to be 7 quizzes per week. So 4 vocab quizzes, meaning that we're going to give you 1,000 vocab to memorize. And so there's going to be weekly quizzes. And so 4 vocab quizzes, and there's going to be 1 quiz for each class, reading, writing, and math. And Tuesday through Friday, definitely there's going to be some homework. So the homework is going to be about like 1.5 to 2 hours load. The program is pretty intense. So every Monday is a testing day. Every Tuesday we do test review, and Wednesday through Friday, that's going to be the class time, 7 quizzes and all this homework. So that's for the SAT. ACT, same thing, every Monday test, Tuesday test review. Now Wednesday through Friday, it's going to be your class time. Now Elite Headquarters is working on different curriculum books for this year. I don't know how they're going to come out, but it used to be one thick book that we gave out to the students. And same thing, there's going to be each section class, meaning English, reading, and math and science, and each class is going to be 1 hour. And during the class time, we're going to go over the important the lesson materials from the curriculum book. And also, if we have more time left, then we'll give you more practice questions that you can do inside during the class time. So that's the SAT and ACT program. Now, both programs are 8 weeks long. So we're going to start our program on June 8th, and we're going to go all the way until July 31st. And during this time, 8 weeks of the program, now we're going to be checking your scores. So after like 2 or 3 weeks of the program, if your scores do not improve much, then we're going to make a schedule for you to come in for a short conference meeting time. And that's because we want to find out why your scores are not moving up. So one of the first things that we check is whether you are studying at home or not. Usually, guys, the reason the scores are not moving up, especially for the guys, is because they're playing a lot of games, video games at home, or they're watching too much of YouTube. So much time is spent on like playing video games, watching YouTube or Netflix, and that's obvious. You know, parents are not home, you totally occupy your home, and so you do that. But I mean, we're gonna catch you. So it's very important for you to make your time and study for the SAT and ACT. Girls, usually it's a social media. So a lot of texting, like the Instagram or the Facebook, just so much time is spent on the computer stuff. So we're gonna check, I know it's gonna be like a personal basis, but we're really gonna have to do that in order for us to help you improve your scores. So we have a very close follow-up system, and for this year, we're making it even tighter than before, because we had pretty tight system last year, but still we lost some people or missed some people. So this year we have a lot tighter, like, you know, watch after type of the system that, you know, we'll try our best to help you improve your scores. So since our program is going to be ending on the 31st of July, as far as the SAT is concerned, the first one that you can do is in August. So that's going to be August 31st, I mean August 29th. So there's about a month gap. Now, after finishing with our program, it's going to be really important for you to keep practicing. It's going to be tough because your school's going to start, and if you're taking like 3 or 4 or 5 AP classes, then you're not going to have like much time to practice SAT, but it's going to be really important. So let's say that you kind of like stop practicing after July 31st, and you know, like next Saturday or this coming Saturday is the SAT test day, and now you're trying to like review some stuff, and then you try to take the August 29th test. I'm very sure that your score is going to drop. Right? So it's very important for you to keep yourself in practice. So after the summer program, we're going to offer the summer extension program, which is going to be a separate program. So the summer extension is going to be on Saturdays and Sundays. And so, you know, you're welcome to join the program and continue with practice. So if you're doing SAT, I strongly recommend you to sign up for the August and also the October test. And that is because you need super score, meaning that private colleges, they do super score, meaning when you have 2 scores, now the private is going to ask you to submit the highest English from one test and the highest math from another test, and they're going to combine them together and make a super score. Now, UCs, they don't do that. UCs, it's you're obligated, meaning that you have to submit all your scores. So 2 or 3 scores that you submit, they're going to take the best one out of 2 or 3 that you submit. So there's definitely an advantage that if you do more than once. But let's say that, you know, after taking the August test and your score came up pretty strong and you are satisfied, then you don't have to do it anymore. But there's a little tricky part. I recommend you to sign up for both tests, August and October. But the thing is, like, your August test score came out like 1550 or 1570, then you're done. Then you kind of have to give up on the October test. But let's say that you waited until you take August test and you waited for the score to come out, and now you see the score and you have to take another one, and you try to sign up for the October test, it's going to be way too late. So try to finish your SAT hopefully by October. But if you have to take it one more time, maybe November or December, but don't try to like carry that on to next year, because next year, I mean, you're gonna have a lot more things to do, especially like if you're taking more than 4 APs. So try to finish your SAT or even like ACT requirements by the end of this year. So AP tests. AP tests are not required, but it's like required. So it's like everybody's doing it. If you're looking, if you're thinking about UCs and private colleges, then literally like everybody's doing it. So it is a hard test, and definitely it's the results of all these things that you learn throughout the that 1 year of the AP course. But if you provide your AP test scores, definitely that's going to be an advantage for your college admissions. 3 is a passing score. 3 is still good, but if you want to be competitive, obviously you should go for 4 or 5. If you're thinking IBs and hidden IBs, definitely you're going to have to go for 4s and 5s. Now, SAT subject. You could self-study SAT subject. However, you kind of have to have the AP background. So let me show you this first. Now, these are the SAT subject tests that you can do. So from math, there is actually one on math, which is called Math 1. But Math 1, like most of the colleges don't care. That's too easy test. But Math 2, that's mostly interested in. And if you're doing computer science or engineering, then Math 2 is required. You have to take that test. Now, Math 2 covers up the pre-calculus. So if you're doing pre-calc right now, then you could definitely prepare and go for the June test. Or when you take like an AP Cal AB next year, then you could do the Math 2 test next June. When you take AP Bio, AP Chem, AP Physics, then you could do SAT Subject Bio, Chem, or Physics. And when you take AP World or AP US or AP Literature, then you could do the SAT Subject Test. And when you take AP Foreign Language, then you could do the SAT Subject Foreign Language. Now, when you do the SAT Subject Foreign Language, the college is going to require listening test. And listening test is only given in November test. So you're going to have to be careful with that. So if you want to go for the SAT subject like French, Spanish, Chinese, then wait until the November to take it. However, let's say that you're doing early action and you want to take SAT subject foreign language, then take it before then. I mean, you're doing early, so the college is going to understand that, okay? Pre-med students, definitely Math 2, even though it is not required, but a lot of students going to provide Math 2 score. So, do Math 2, and when you take like an AP Bio, AP Chem, and Physics, or do it. But for the pre-med students, you don't have to do the AP Physics unless you have love for the physics class, right? So even computer science major, you don't have to do physics. So let's say that you're taking AP Bio now and you're a sophomore, and for the next year, if you're thinking about taking like an honors physics or or some like a physics class, then you don't have to do it. Go for another AP, so AP Chemistry. I know Dublin High, they require physics as for the graduation requirements, so you're gonna have to take physics, but none of the schools, I don't think that they require you to take physics. So when you have a chance to take more like an AP Science, then go for it, right? For the engineering majors, the AP Physics and AP Calculus BC are strongly recommended by all UCs and also most of the high-level private colleges. So you're going to have to manage to take AP Physics by the senior year and also AP the Calculus BC by the senior year. Now, MIT and Carnegie Mellon, and I think it's the same thing with the Caltech, they require AP Physics. So that means you're going to have to manage it before submit your application. Okay? So there's like a little difference between the engineering and other majors. All right, so let me go back. Oops. Hold on a second, what happened here? All right, just give me a second.
I had a question about this semester's grades.
Uh-huh.
Are they still going to be counted, or is it going to be pass fail? And how is that going to go into the GPA consideration?
I think it really depends on the school. A lot of high schools are doing pass, not pass. But the colleges are making an announcement that they're not going to consider this semester's grades. So let's see.
So for sophomores or juniors this semester, they're not considering grades at all?
Right. So if it is pass, not pass, then they're not going to consider it.
Oh, okay. But if the school gives a grade, then they still will consider it?
Yes, they're going to look at it, but I don't think they're going to look at it as seriously as other semester grades.
But will it still count in the overall GPA consideration, or?
I would say yes and no. That depends on each college. But definitely, I mean, they're going to give you a little more grace for this semester. Did I answer your question? So this is the fact. The colleges are announcing that they're not going to consider this semester's grade. But the thing is, if your school is doing letter grades, right, and if you have a C, now that's bad, right? Because it's going to show on your transcript. So even though the colleges consider less about this semester's grade, but if you have like C's, now that's no good. So that means that you didn't study for the class. So so if you have a C, then you better work on your GPA. But if it is pass, not pass, I mean, that's just a pass, not pass. So the college is not going to consider this semester's that pass, not pass. I mean, you have to pass the class, but so it's not going to be as much serious as or heavy.
Maybe it's a question Q&A. Maybe you can type in a question.
The question was.
Listen.
All right. The question was, if the school has like a not pass or not pass or letter grades, would the colleges consider this semester's grades?
If I have an average grade on my SAT, should I send it in?
Can you say that again? Can you repeat the question?
Oh my God, that soup smells so bad.
Okay. All right. So no, I'm going to talk about the compensation, meaning that like you have not so good GPA, but you have really strong SAT score. Well, I'll talk about this now. So a lot of students or the parents are thinking that, well, the GPA is not too strong, but I have like 50-50 on the SAT. Would that compensate? Depends on which major that you have. So if you're considering, once again, I mean, engineering, like pre-med or computer science or a popular major, they have like GPA cut lines. So even like for pre-med, I'm just giving you an example about like UCLA and UC Berkeley, but like UCLA, for pre-med major, let's say your GPA is like 4.3. 4.3 for pre-med at UCLA is kind of on the borderline. So if your GPA is like 4.3, definitely the SAT score is it's gonna work. So if you have like 15-50 on the SAT, that could compensate the GPA, which is on the borderline. But if you have like 4.0 GPA, but and you have like 15-50 SAT, it's gonna be tough. All right. So the review policy is that all the time, like at every college, your GPA is gonna be the most important thing. Because the thing is, you could be a very good test taker, right? And you could go through like test program that we provide, and you could have perfect score on the SAT, but your GPA could be low. So the way that college is going to read that kind of application is that, well, you didn't study. I mean, it's like maybe you kind of like didn't bother like to study for your classes, but you're probably a good test taker. So that's not good. So every time, I mean, the GPA is gonna kick in as the most important thing, and then test scores, and then your extracurricular activities. Okay.
I have another question.
Uh-huh.
So what if it's like the opposite? So like you have a pretty strong GPA, but your SAT score is like mediocre. Should you still send it in?
Right. So it depends on what score that you have. All right. So for the UCs, if you're looking UCLA and UC Berkeley, then as long as your score is up around like 1430 and up, that's going to be good. But anything below 1430, you kind of have to try more, because the 1450 is it's a kind of like the score that will be good for most of the UCs, but UCLA, UC Berkeley, if it is engineering, computer science, and pre-med, then definitely it has to be around like 1480 or 1500. So anything below, definitely you're gonna have to try more. But let's say that you used up all three opportunities for the SAT, then you definitely can try ACT, right? So the thing is, as far as the test scores are concerned, it's not just the SAT and ACT, but AP test scores and SAT subject test scores. So let's say that your SAT is not too strong, then they're gonna take a look at your AP test scores and your SAT subject test scores. So if you don't provide SAT subject test scores and your GPA is not too strong and your SAT scores not too strong, then that could be a disadvantage. So the recommendation is that you know, try to do SAT subject test and provide the scores. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so extracurricular activities. Now, I'm gonna talk about this part this coming week because it's just so much to talk about. So I just want you to have a glimpse of what the extracurricular is gonna be like. Now, there are two ways that the college is gonna review your personal profile, which is more like extracurricular. Holistic or well-round, meaning that you used to be well-round, meaning that like especially the UCs, they wanted to see all kinds of activities, right? So like sports, music, clubs, if you do the clubs on your campus, then leadership positions, research, the competitions. So, I mean, they were looking for well-round, but UC has been changing their, like how they view their students. So they're more like concentrated or the holistic, meaning that instead of doing so many different activities, if you have a one or two which really stand out, then that's gonna speak so much on your application. And concentrated, that's something that most of the private colleges are looking for. So IVs are saying that, you know, we don't mind you like listing so many different activities, but what we really want to see is one or two concentrated. So concentrated meaning that you know, you were committed to do that one particular activity for so many years, and you have very good results. So that's something that you should consider. So you don't necessarily have to do sports or music to make, you know, all this long list of activities. But let's say that you're doing the school activities, all right? So there's a clubs, organizations, sports, music, and art, and all these. So if you do the clubs in your school, definitely you're gonna have to have some officer position. So if you're just a member of the clubs, it's not gonna speak so much. Now, the UCs, they changed their application format since 2019, last year. And the one biggest change was on the extracurricular or the activity list. Up to 2018, UCs, they gave you 160 characters for you to describe your activities, but since last year, it's now 500 characters. And that is just to describe your activity. And they are giving you another 500 characters for you to describe your club or the organization that you belong to. So UC is getting a lot more serious about your activities. And this year, we're getting the results from the UCs. And some of the students, I thought they were going to get into certain UCs, but they did not. But obviously, one of the reasons that I could think of why they didn't get into those UCs was because of their activity background. So it's very important that you keep the activities pretty good the level. But you could have like so many different activities, but especially like private college, like Stanford, Ivies, they are looking for one or two like standing out. So if you do piano, now a lot of people play piano and they do CM level test. And so, you do like a CM level 10 and you pass the test, it looks really good. Now, the thing is that it looks really good from your perspective. And that's because, you are the one who played piano for so long, you practiced a lot, and you prepared yourself to pass that test. But from the college application readers, they're going to read thousands of them. And out of thousands, they're going to see a lot of them having done like CM level test, and they all passed it. So the piano like CM level 10 is going to be pretty common among many high level students. So especially like Ivies, Stanford, MIT. Now, they're not going to care too much about your academic profile because more than 95% of the applicants to those schools going to have really high academic profile. So what they're going to put much more weight on is your activities. And if you follow the footsteps of like everyone else is doing, it's not going to make your application stand out. So what the Ivies are saying is, instead of like listing so many different activities, we'd appreciate if you have like so many different activities, but what we really want to see is one or two which make you stand out, which make you, differentiate from other applicants. So if you are right now like a freshman or sophomore in high school right now, then you might want to give a lot more time to create like unique type of activities. For the uses, definitely, you still have to keep so many number of like, club activities, volunteering hours and all these are very important. But if you're, considering like Ivies and all, then this, something special is going to be really important. So I have students who got into like a Harvard and Princeton and Yale and some of the top colleges this year, and I helped them with the applications. And these students did like research work or the internships from like freshman year. So these are, for the summertime. And you could find the opportunities, these opportunities for the internship or the research type of work by visiting the college website. And usually it's pretty selective, meaning that you have to apply for those programs. So if you want to make your application really stand out, shining, then the concentrated activity is going to be important. So I'm going to be talking about this next week. And there's definitely common and uncommon, and I talked a little bit about this. Just briefly, so frequency, that's going to be important, whether your activities are daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, or yearly basis. Consistency, now this is important. Sports, you could play your sport, but if you are in JV and you're not going to make varsity, don't do it. Just waste your time. So college is not going to be interested in like playing sport for the JV and then you stop. So if you're playing sport for like 1 or 2 years, that's not going to look good. So you don't have to have sport. And you're still going to say, wouldn't it be better if I had like 2 year sports listed on my application? It would be better than nothing. Well, yes, you're going to list it, but frankly speaking, from the application reader's perspective, it's not going to do much. So if it is sport, then you have to be in varsity team. And you should do like 3 or 4 years. So that's going to be important. Music, the same thing. You could play piano, violin, all these are good. You're going to show your talents and the gifts that you have. But the question is, okay, what did you do with the talents that you have? So one of the things that I recommend to my students to do is make a club and go out to like elementary school in low income community, talk to the people there and offer yourself to like teach these kids piano or violin or some like musical instrument. That's good. And that's counted as like you're trying to reach out to the community and change the lives of in the community. So that's called leadership. So it's not just sharing your gift, but you're actually showing your leadership. Leadership meaning that you are actually influencing other people to be better, right? So just don't do anything just for yourself, but try to share with the others. So I'll talk more about this this week. So the reason that you are involved with this extracurricular is going to be really important. So the personal interest, skill added, desire to learn more, character building, career potential, competition. As far as the competition goes, the schools are not going to be interested in like a regional level. So it has to be like state or national, international level competitions. So I'll talk more about that next time too. And these are not a good reason. Everyone else is doing it. It's going to look good on my application. I'm too lazy to look for something else. Don't know, or my parents asked me to do it. All right, so these are not that good ideas. So if you don't know what extracurricular activities to join, and these are some guidelines that you have. So what do you enjoy doing? Right? What do you enjoy doing it? And what are you good at? Any hobbies that you have? Any special like skills that you have? And what is a cause you care about, or who do you care about? So I had a student who's really good at cooking. Right, so he's really good at making food, cooking food. So he made a club at his school, and they volunteered at this particular senior home. And every week they went there and they cooked for the seniors. That's good. Right, so it's using your talent, right? And what you learn more about, what opportunities are available to you. So these are all like reasons that you can think of when you choose the extracurricular activities. And other considering facts, ethnicity. Now, these are beyond your control. I mean, you're born as an Indian, you're born as a Korean. That's like a non-controllable thing. As you know, that we as Asians, I mean, we're going to have pretty high competitions for the college admissions. So it's beyond your control. So ethnicity, gender, definitely the girl's going to have a much better chance to get into engineering school or engineering major than the guys. And so socioeconomic background, if you're coming from like low income community and your parents are like financially struggling, then definitely you're gonna have a better chance. And the familial circumstances, it's certain ethnic groups and certain family background, so that will affect. But these are the things that you could control. So extracurricular activities, don't be lazy, try to do something, try to develop your extracurricular activities. Pursuit of interest, what are you good at, what are you interested in? So you kind of have to pioneer your path to find out what your interests are and try to do more with that interest. And the writing great essays, now that's college essays. So definitely how you write your essays, now it's gonna like really fluctuate, or it's gonna impact a lot on your college application. So I'll be talking about that next time too. Now demonstrating interest, now I'm gonna talk about that a little later. And obtaining strong recommendation letters. Now that's something that you can do. So talk to your teachers, right? So try to build up a pretty good relationship with the teachers. Counselor is usually hard, but try it. So there are two different kinds of recommendation letters: personal and general. And definitely the typical, the recommendation letters is that counselor and teachers, they're going to ask you to submit your resume, and based upon your resume, they're going to try to write the recommendation letters. But if you know your teacher for so many years or in depth, then he could write you, or she can write you the recommendation letters. So the maintaining or building up a strong relationship with the teacher is going to be important. Now, personal statement, I'm going to talk about this next time too, but I just want you to know that all these application types, and there are many essays that you're going to have to do. So if you're a junior right now, you better start working on your application. So Common App, there's one big essay that you're going to have to do, which requires 650 words. Coalition app, one big essay and 550 words max. And UC, they're going to ask you to do 4 essays and 350 words each. State, they don't require it. And private application like MIT, depending on each college, but it could be up to 550. So you're going to have options, meaning that each application is going to give you from like 5 to 8 essay prompt choices. So Common App, it's a 7 choices. Coalition App, that's 5. UC, it's going to be 8 prompt choices. So out of all those, you're going to have to choose ones that you want to write about. But believe me, writing the college essay is extremely difficult, all right? It's not the same thing as like you're writing an essay for your AP Lang or your English class. So writing the college essay is like you're presenting yourself to college. You're showing who you are to college. So you're gonna have to have some story that you can share with the college. The biggest challenge that I see from most of the students coming from these areas is that they have like nothing to write about. So it just takes a long time for them to start something on their college essays. So that's where like extracurricular activities kick in. So if you have some strong extracurricular activities, meaning that you have some experiences from those activities and you could share those experiences with the college, and that's going to be really great. And the rec letter from your counselor and your teacher, definitely the colleges want to hear about you from other people. Right? So that's the reason that you should have like build up your good relationship with the teachers and also the counselor. And let's keep that. Now, demonstrated interest. How much do you want to go to the college? And how much do you know about that college? And why do you want to go to the college? So let's say that you're living in this area and you are applying to UC Berkeley or UC Davis. And on the UC application, there is a question asking, have you been to our campus? And if you uncheck it, that's going to be a little funny. All right, so in order for you to show your interest, your passion about the school, try to do the campus tour. Right? So many students, they schedule the campus tour during the spring break or sometimes during the summertime. Now, campus tour does not mean that you drive through. Right? So it means the official the campus tour program, which is offered by each college. So you're going to have to sign up for the campus tour in advance, and go and join the campus tour. Take a look around and see if that campus is going to be the one that you really want to go to. So campus tour, and also they're going to have your record. So on your application, if you check mark that you were at the campus tour, then that's going to be helpful. Not for a lot, but yes, that it will help you. So what you can do for the demonstrated interest, visit their campuses, right, and attend info sessions. Now, your school is going to have college fair. So when there is a college fair, go and meet people, the representatives from each college, right? And so talk to people, and also find out more about those colleges. So that's going to be good. And actually on the college application, it will ask you whether you went to college fair from your school or not. And open your email or their emails. The college is going to send you some emails. Open them up, and if you find something interesting, then you could actually mention that on your application too. And correspond with someone in the admissions office. So when you have some questions about the admission requirements, call them up. All right, call the admissions office and ask questions. And so that way, definitely you're making or you're letting them know that you're interested. I called I don't know which college, I think it was Duke. It was on behalf of my students, and I had to call to find out something last year. And they were asking a lot of questions. It's like, okay, what's your student's name? What was the birthday? It's like, oh my goodness. I mean, it's very detailed. Could they gonna have the record recorded? So when you apply, they will see the record. So if you have something recorded with that campus, and if they could take a look at it, then that will be very helpful on your application too. So as far as the extracurriculars are concerned, it must be the initiative and desire of the student, not from the parents. Right? So if you're not being so like a proactive, then you should take a charge over all these things. All right. So as far as the colleges or the applications concerned, it's like presenting your life. Right? You gotta have to have something to show. It's not just the academics. So it's about you, your life, your story of your life, and that's something that the college is going to be interested in, and your accomplishments, the entire 4 years of high school. So what have you accomplished, or what are the achievements that we could see, and demonstration of your strength, gifts, and talents. Now I meet with like 800 or more than 800 students every year, and each time when I have conference meeting, I'd be amazed. Because the potentials that they have, gifts that they have is so amazing. But the sad thing is that students are not using those. They're so much into some other stuff which could bring like fun to their, that's no good. So when you have like a certain potentials or the gifts or talents, try to do more. Right? Do not waste your time like doing like video games or watching YouTubes and all these, but try to invent more, try to like develop more with your potentials of strength and gifts and talents. Right? And as I said before, when you have certain gifts, try to share with the others. Right? And also on every application, there will be one essay prompt which is going to be asking, did you have any hardship or challenge in your life? Now, you can write about it, but what they really want to read about is not how difficult and how horrible your life was, but how you overcame, what kind of person you came out with. Right? How did that hardship or how did that challenge change you? So if you had a hardship or challenge, don't be shy to talk about it. But the important thing is that you don't, you don't ask them like a sympathy. You don't want to be pathetic, right? Because they don't like that kind of essay, but they want to read about the victory story. So definitely that's going to be a good thing. And what did you do with your gifts and talents? As I said before, share it with the others. So make opportunities for you to like teach the elementary kids or teach some other people. So I had one student who was really good at computer, and he was really into senior homes. So he taught the seniors like how to use smartphones and how to do the Facebook and all this. So that was really good. So try to share your gift. Competitions, as I mentioned before, the competition meaning that it's a state level, national level, international level. If you're doing a lot of speech and debate competitions, that's really good. But because a lot of people are doing it, you're gonna have to have winning records. So like a state, national level, try to win so much of them. And robotics team. Many people from like the Dublin and also DVHS, they're in robotics team and they're doing really good. So they're going for the national level competitions. The important thing is, yes, being at that the national level is really good, but try to win. So that those winning the records, the competition awards, now this is going to be very important. So I'll be talking more about this next time when I talk about the details in the college applications. So what can you do now? So if your GPA is not too strong, then maintaining strong GPA is the #1 task. So study, right? Now in 2 weeks, now I'm gonna have another seminar, which I will concentrate on your study skill or study habit and your time management. Let's say that you're putting a lot of hours to study for your classes, but you're not getting the good results. Now I'm gonna talk about why you're not getting those good grades, even though you're putting a lot of hours to it. So that's gonna be in 2 weeks. So maintaining your strong GPA is gonna be very, very important. And for the next year, if your class schedule is not too strong, then try to make it stronger. That you could do it the first week of the new semester. And before the school year ends. So every like spring semester, try to take like an AP test and SAT subject test. And if you're a junior right now, then try to work on the college list right now. And during the summertime, take more classes, or there's some summer programs that you can do. And I'll be specifically more talking more about the summer programs next time when I talk about the extracurricular activities next week. Okay. So establish good habits, start living out the characteristics that are important for your future now, and be intentional with your time and resources. So these are all important things, but I'll be talking more next time. So ELITE, we have different programs. So we have SAT, ACT test prep program, as you know, and our the summer program probably is the most intense SAT, ACT program. And also we have winter your boot camp program. And also every spring semester, we have the AP and SAT subject test prep program. And we have Premier, the tutoring program. Used to be group, one teacher with 3 students, but now we are offering the private tutoring program too. Now, Premier is very effective for those students who are having trouble with their classes. So what I tell my students is that as the new semester begins, and if you know that you're not going to get a really good grades in certain classes within a month time, then you kind of have to talk to your parents about it. Don't be embarrassed, because your GPA is kind of the most important thing. That if you miss that the first month of each semester, right, and you know you're not going to get A, it's going to be really hard. So don't wait until like 3rd or 4th or 5th week for you to catch up. But if you get like professional help, then definitely it's going to help you so much better for you to get much higher grade and for you to study for your classes much better. So we do provide Premier tutoring for almost like every class from high school. So it's going to be one teacher with 3 students in the classroom, and we take care of the questions first. So as you bring your questions in, then we try to take care of those first. And after 2nd or 3rd time, definitely the teacher's going to get to know you and your weaknesses. So the next session is that, if there's a more like time left, then teacher's going to give you more like challenging materials for you to study in class, or he's going to give you more practice questions that you can do so that you could improve and make your weakness as a strength. So the Premier program is very effective. And if you're interested in, please let me know. And as I mentioned, the ELITE Open School class, you could take online classes with us, and we have very good follow-up system. And our classes, or the system, is a little bit different from the BYU independent study. So BYU, you're going to be taking the classes online, and pretty much it's on your own. The ELITE Open School, I mean, you could do that, but we provide, it's called the ELITE Blended Learning program. So it's not that we don't trust you guys so much, but you have to be here. So you have to come in at least like 2 or 3 times here at the center, and you're going to do the online classes here. And we'll have a teacher meeting with you and follow up on you. And if you have like any question, then you could. So it's going to be like one hour tutoring time. So it's really, very good system that you have, and we will try to like help you and maximize your time to do much better on your the classes you're taking with us. College application service. Now that is for the juniors, and we cover every single step which is involved in college applications. So I'm going to talk about that more next time. So you're going to be working on all these applications, and especially if you're interested in like IBs and top schools, definitely you need professional help. So don't miss that out, and I'll talk a little more about it next time. And college consultation program. Now this is like a long year committed program. So if you sign up for the consultation program, we'll be committed to help you build up the best resume for the top colleges in the States. So I meet with the students like 10 times per year, and I check the academic profile and also the extracurricular profile. And as you sign up, we actually plan the whole thing, the entire picture for the next like 3 or 4 years in your high school. And we make like class schedules, testing schedules, and also the extracurricular activities. And because we're specialized in extracurricular activities, we'll make a very strong suggestions for you to try certain activities for the summer. And so we'll help you with the application preparation and all. And also the college consultation program involves the college application service program. So if you're interested in the consultation, I could have the personal meeting with you. So please let me know. Now, lastly is the COVID-19. Now, because of this, as I said, a lot of schools are doing pass, not pass, and even like the GPA of the letter grades, many schools are coming out and say that we're not going to consider that much with the spring semester grades. So I think is many of the colleges, they're not going to like really take a look at the semester grades at all. But if there's like any college which is going to take a look at it, as I said before, if you're getting C's, you better study, right? To bring it up to at least like a B- or a B. UCs, they don't care about B-. B- is still considered as B. So try to study and bring it up. Pass, not pass, I mean, that's just two choices. So try to pass your class. So cumulative GPA is going to be important. So this semester, just this semester, but there are other grades. So 9th grade, 10th grade first semester, and also the 11th grade, and also the senior year. So your cumulative GPA is going to be important. So try to pay attention to your GPA. Now, if you had poor grades from the fall semester last year, then you should make time to study for those classes, especially math and science, because math and science is all sequential. So let's say that you're taking Algebra 2 and you kind of have like C from the first semester, you better catch up, right? So now you probably have like a lot more free time. Make sure that you go back to the first semester material and study those the concepts or the things that you kind of like missed out or things that you couldn't understand. Now, if you still have difficult time understanding the concept, you still don't know how to solve, you don't understand certain things, then definitely you need help. So tutoring, private tutoring, or the tutoring services that we provide, you're taking advantage of it, right? So make time to study and catch up. As far as testing is concerned, May SAT is canceled, but still June SAT, SAT subject, and ACT, as far as my knowledge is concerned, is still up there. But it depends on like how this COVID-19 is going to go. But I don't think that they're going to cancel it. So if you've been preparing for the June test, go for it. AP test is going to be in May. All right. So as you know, it's going to be 45 minutes online test, and it's the free response questions only. There's no multiple choices. And I think they're gonna cover up to the materials up to March. So so that's gonna give you a lot more break, but study for the APs and just do the test and try your best to get pretty high scores on it. All right, so that's it. So does anybody have any questions? No? Okay, so there are some questions.
So I wanted to find out, my son took the winter boot camp and then also the extended session. And I think he was just one day away from going ahead and taking the SAT. So I know the preparation that the kids have put into it. They've put a lot of hard work and all that. I understand that, ideally they should be practicing on their own, and practicing will help them definitely. But how do you feel that has, just because of the preparation, and then if they got it done in March, that would have been the ideal time. But now that the May one is canceled and it's still going to be another 2-3 months from when they're going to take the test again, do you have any tips for the kids or for us as to how we can continue helping them? And also just to make sure, what do the UCs think about that now?
Right, so is he junior right now?
He is, yeah.
So as I said before, UCs made the SAT and ACT optional. All right, so that means you don't have to do it. So as it applies for the colleges next year, so as far as the SAT, so it's okay that you don't have the SAT score, but as I said before, if you have the score now, that's going to be a little more advantageous. So it's going to be your choice, but if you don't mind taking the August test, then I still want to recommend that. And so the corporate is actually talking about like offering some program for those people who went through the winter boot camp but didn't get to take the like a March test or the May test. So I'm gonna send out the email message as soon as I hear from the corporate whether they're gonna come up with a special program for those students or not. But as far as taking the test is concerned, even though it is optional, yes, I want to recommend to go for the August test. And in fact, he has like an August and October opportunity, even like in November, unless those are going to be canceled. But, and so that's the UCs. So UCs, they don't mind. I mean, you know, if you don't provide it, they say it's not going to affect your admissions.
Right. And what about the June one? Because ideally, I know my child wants to stay in California, so he wanted to apply to the UC system. And that's why it would have been nice if he was able to go ahead and, you know, take the test. But under the circumstances, what about the June test now? Do you not recommend taking it then?
I mean, if he's ready, yes, why not? All right. So,
okay. Yeah, no, I mean, I think he was ready to, you know, like I said, he was done with the class at Elite and he was ready to take it on March 14th, right? So he had signed up and he was all ready to take it then at least. But unfortunately, it didn't happen that way.
Mm-hmm. Okay, for that case, I think I can make some special like options. For the winter bootcamp people, I could give some practice tests, right? And so he could. So as you know, that the Elite tests are pretty good, or our tests are very close to the actual. So I'll make some tests available for the winter bootcamp students, and they could keep practicing until the June test.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right, so do you have any guidelines? How will college calculate GPA? Okay, will they take fall semester GPA and final 11th grade GPA? All right, so is it just sophomore or junior? Okay, so the UCs, as I said before, they're gonna take your cap GPA first, meaning that 10th and 11th grade weighted classes first, and out of all the weighted classes that you have, they're gonna pick 4, and they will see the GPA, and if it is a competitive major, then they're gonna look at your fully weighted GPA. All right, so as I mentioned before, that you're gonna have to have pretty strong class schedules, meaning try to take as many APs and honors as possible. So your weighted GPA is gonna be the most important thing, and then unweighted. Now, would they take fall semester GPA? Yes, they will take the fall semester GPA because the college is gonna look at your transcript per each semester, right? It's not just the cumulative. So on your application, you're gonna see the actual application next time or this coming week. You're gonna have to report the grades from each semester, starting with 9th grade. Same thing with the UCs. And UCs still, they're gonna take a look at the 9th grade class schedule and the grades. It's just the thing is that when they calculate your GPA, they're not gonna count the 9th grade, but it's gonna be 10th and 11th only. But one more time, the private colleges, it's gonna be from the 9th grade until the first semester of your senior year. So
we have a question.
I was wondering, since most seniors apply for college around November, which is before the first semester grades are completed, how would the colleges know which kind of classes you're taking senior year?
Right, because if it is a private colleges, I believe that counselor already submitted the first semester grades. And if it is the UCs, I mean, they don't care about it, but your final transcript has to be submitted after you got admitted to a college. But for the privates, your counselor is responsible to submit your transcript or the 12th grade, the first semester grades. Did it answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right, any other question? All right, so you will be receiving another email message from us. So that's going to be the second part of college seminar this coming week. And please sign up for that. And as I said before, I'm going to be focusing on the extracurricular activities and the college applications. So it'll be much better for you to have, if you take a look at what the applications are like, then you will have much better idea how and what you should do in order for you to be more eligible for the colleges that you want to go to. And also, in the meantime, if you can think of any questions, then you could definitely bring up the questions for the next seminar. Okay. So if there isn't any other questions, I want to thank you so much for joining this today's seminar, and I will see you next time.